All right, greetings Transformers. Dr. Angelo Reynolds Sr. here with you all today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the person sending out the comments and so forth. As you know, we are live every Sunday. I begin Sundays with the transformational vitamin of the week. I did this morning, I posted. And for this week's transformational vitamin, it's addiction. And so I want to give you some information for this week as we begin to depart our week, start our week with our families, on our careers, our jobs, and so forth. And I want to share some insight with you. Also some personal information that one of the reasons why I talk about addictions and how it's so impactful or can be such a detriment for you. And so earlier I posted on all the social media about the impact of addictions. And so let me go ahead and start from the beginning. Those persons joining, thanks, we're glad to have you. I'm Dr. Angelo Reynolds Sr. and I am live on Periscope every single day at 7 p.m. This is the Transformers Academy. The Transformers Academy comes to you every day to help you with your personal and professional lives. Okay, so that's what we do. All right, thank you for the accolades there. We'll go ahead and begin. I talk about addictions in a way that is very personalized for me. And so I shared early on, if you want to see later on, if you can't catch this video now, go to Twitter, and I think it's on LinkedIn, where I posted it's about a 15-minute video with the introduction of addictions, affliction for this week. So if you get a chance, go there and look at that if you're missing this now. But for those persons with us, let's go ahead. And the one question I want to ask you, as I always do, is have you or do you have an addiction, or have you had one in the past? That is the question. Do you have an addiction, or have you had one in the past? And so let's identify, yeah, me too, but let's identify the word addictions, not necessarily connotative of what the Webster said, but let me give you my definition. My definition of addiction is something that we need, that we have to have, and that we need to function, okay? And an addiction is not always bad. It's not always detrimental, but addiction is something that we have to have so that we can function or do our daily lives. Mine happened to be years ago alcohol addiction, where I was addicted to or having to have, both from a chemical standpoint and an emotional standpoint, alcohol abuse. Okay, yeah, and you may think or believe that you need these things and they turn into addiction, but one thing that I will say about addictions, particularly alcohol and drug usage, is once you begin and abuse it, it becomes a chemical balance for you. In other words, your physiological body tends to need it in order to be functioned. That's on an abusive level, and I'm speaking for me personally, where we think that we may need it, but sometimes our body craves it, and if we don't have those things when we're in an abusive state, it becomes a chemical dependency for us. So I'm speaking from a clinical standpoint there. On the emotional side, I want to speak to you about some other addictions, and it may not be alcohol or drug, but how about addictions of toxic people? You know, those people that you say you can't live without, you have to have. It could be someone in your close proximity of your home. It could be friendship, a partner. It could be someone that you feel that you've been so close to, but that you can't function fully without their knowledge, their intake, or their camaraderie with you. And so what I'll say to you is that's good and bad. It's good if it's bringing positive energy. It's good if it's encouraging. But the whole addiction and the whole notion of need is something that I have a problem with, because I hear, you remember people say all the time, this is my better half. Oh yeah, what about the newest fad on Pokemon Go? Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. That seems to be something that people are gravitating to, that's becoming addictive now. And so the problem with that is it becomes an affliction. Let me say something about that, because the addiction itself, if it becomes an addiction, it's an affliction, and an affliction is something that temporarily takes you out of your focus, is a distraction, and can be harmful. Can making poor choices on the game? Absolutely, based on the game. But remember, when we're talking about addictions, we're talking about things that that we have to have, we want so badly, and sometimes we feel. I'll give you a prime example. Outside of drug and alcohol and people, how about technology? Just yesterday, my computer seemed to have some type of virus on. It shut down. I had to call Microsoft, then the computer geeks, and I literally almost lost my mind because I run my business off technology and my computer. And so I began to like panic, like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I got to broadcast, I got to post. I'm answering, I do via webinars. So, you know, I go totally nuts without the internet too. So in that sense, I need that. Now, is that addiction bad? It can be, because what happens when we don't have access to the internet, or we aren't able to use it? Then we have to find or resort back to the old way of doing things. I couldn't come to you right now sharing powerful information if I didn't have an iPhone, Wi-Fi, internet, social media. I couldn't do these things. So in a sense, I am somewhat addicted to this internet, but I'll say, you know, I can live without it. I'm talking about things that may be a detriment for you, that may be harmful for you, and also someone said I could be learning and hearing these things hearing without those things. Yeah, I mean, I agree to a certain extent on that, and that can be true. But I want you to think about if you currently have an addiction, or you've had one, or you may be on the verge of finding yourself becoming addicted to something or someone. Sometimes environments are addictive, sometimes people are addictive, sometimes situations are addictive. I've heard all types of addictions, from pornographic material to not outside of drug and alcohol, but wanting and being around negative people. I'm talking about things that are throwing you out of your focus, prohibiting you from getting those things that cause productivity for you, things that are distractions and temporary afflictions, because food is another thing. People become addicted to food, even the gym, and working out is a wonderful catalyst to overall health and well-being. But how about when it becomes abusive? How about people who overtrain, who never take a break, who starve themselves because they're dieting and not following the good nutritional lifestyle? I mean, that's addicted to being small, skinny, anything that they're doing that becomes a detriment to either your body or your well-being in a negative way. And I'm talking about those addictions. So if you're one of those persons now who are listening, and you've had an addiction, you obviously know what I'm talking about. If you have one now, or if you're finding yourself on the verge of becoming addicted to something, and you have an inclination, you can feel that. You can feel some things that you may say to yourself, he may have a point. Am I really becoming addicted to this? Am I really being able to not function without this or that or this person or so forth? So ask that question, and that is the question that's going to lead us into the rest of the week about addictions. Mine was, for years, until I was able to finally conquer it, was the abuse of alcohol and smoking. Two things that were becoming self-destructive for me, that I almost actually self-destruct. But we'll talk this week more specifically about how to rid yourself from those things, how to overcome those addictions, why it's important, how is it important for me, and how it's important for you. Even on a social level, people say, well, and this is not to point judgment on anywhere. Well, I drink and I smoke casually, so it's in the confines of casual environments and enjoying myself. That's fine, and that's great if people are able to do that. But the problem comes in when life happens. Setbacks, challenges, obstacles come, traumatic things happen, and then we tend to use those things that will make us comforting to combative. It becomes combative. In other words, we use those things to calm us down, to make us feel good, to deal with the pain of loss, setbacks, challenges, and those things can be such a detriment for us. And those are the things that I'm talking about. So keep that in mind. All this week we'll come on at 7 p.m. Go to linkedin.com. I'm not sure how many people are on LinkedIn, Twitter. The video is there, and it kind of gives an introduction of what addiction is to me, what it was for me, but also I'm going to walk you through this week. Particularly, I'm going to give you things every single day that you can do on a step-by-step basis of how you can beat your 7 p.m. East Coast. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. I'm on the East Coast, 7 p.m. every single day. I'll be on this channel live, and this week particularly talking about addiction and the affliction that it may have on your life. Again, I'm Dr. Angelo Reynolds Sr. This is the Transformers Academy. Go to the website, DrAngeloReynolds.com. Take a look at some of the things that we have to offer you, and also subscribe to our emails list so that we can send you information that's viable, that you can use, that may not necessarily be given out to the general public. But I hope that I can see and hear from you, and thank you for your comments and your tweets and your hearts. They do a lot for us. Here at the Transformers Academy, we come to you because you allow us to, and you give us a little bit of your time every single day to find out what we do. We do this because we know that you are transformers in the making. You already may be a transformer, but we want to learn from you just like you learn from us. It's dual learnership, and that's what learning is about. The Transformers Academy. Go see what we do, and if God's will, tomorrow, tune in tomorrow's video broadcast live at 7 p.m. for this week's transforming vitamin of addiction, and how the addiction can be affliction on your life. If God's willing, I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for your love. As always, be joyful, love one another, be peaceful, and also bring joy to one another. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless you.